Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. So we are going live for our Sunday Stock Talk. We host these every single Sunday at 6 or 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it's time to go live, right? So throughout this video, all we're going to be doing is, if you tune on in, I have this little live chat here on my right hand side, so feel free to participate or engage and ask any questions along the way. Again, if you ever want to tune on into any of these live sessions, all we ask you to do is to subscribe to the channel and maybe drop a thumbs up if you feel like we earned it. So let's go ahead and get started. I know I've received a couple messages about cryptocurrency, especially with the huge push that Bitcoin is currently is experiencing as of right now. Definitely not something that I'm going to be covering within this video, but if you have specific questions that you would like to ask me, you guys can refresh your screen, and the first link in the description is our free Facebook group, and you can ask me any question, even non-stock market related within that. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So for those that are tuning on in, feel free to say what's up. What's going on, Jasmine? What's up? Here we go. So we got ticker symbol CLF. Again, if you guys want me to break down any stock that you see value in, all we ask you to do is to share it in the ticker call out format. Now, to be more than happy to break it down for you. So we're going to start off with CLF, and then we're going to go from there, okay? So CLF, here we go. I'm going to look at it on the 4-hour time frame. When looking at it at the 4-hour time frame, I can go back as far as the day chart just to have a little bit of an understanding of its true direction. Obviously, if you intend to day trade this, is it really useful to look at the 4-hour time frame or the day where every candle represents the day? Not necessarily, but it doesn't hurt to understand if this stock is oversold or overbought based off of the big picture, right? Definitely a little bit more on the oversold side based off of the day chart. I can see things a little bit more clear now that we saw a recent pullback on, and this isn't even the right one. This is CLK is what I was asked to break down. Was that correct? My apologies. CLF. Wow, I am all over the place. CLF. Here we go. So 4-hour time frame actually looks very good. Consistent overall uptrend pattern. This is probably one of my favorite setups. It's an overall ascending uptrend pattern where the stock itself makes higher highs and higher lows. I think all of us can agree that it's still not easy, but it's much easier to make money in the stock market when the direction is in your favor, right? So by being able to buy the dips and sell the highs, buy the dips, 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 sell the highs, right? So I love this one. I'm really happy to see that this is the first one that we're breaking down. Of course, as of right now, we're still trading below the EMA line, so let's make sure that we take that into consideration. Let's set an alert for the break above the EMA. But just like, again, something can begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, we can see signs of a potential pullback as well. So let's go ahead and set the alert on that. Alert on both sides. Let's see what the overall upside potential is. All right, that is going to be from the overall SMA line that has previously acted as a support. Offers nearly 14 to 15% if it were to play out as a perfect trade. Again, at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a perfect trade, but the goal is to get as close to perfect as possible. So if you do see a proper setup or proper reversal, everything that we do when it comes down to talking about position size, all that stuff, make sure we take that into consideration. And of course, as we approach previous highs, let's not be afraid to set alert up there so we are reminded where it is that it might make sense to lock in profits. And based off of previous resistance levels, as we break above 25.50, maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea to decide to lock in profits. So great call out with CLF. Let's go ahead and move on to Fiverr. So I appreciate you posting that in the ticker call out format. Let's go ahead and make sure that I type this one in there correctly. FVRR. FVRR, here we go. So Fiverr stock, we talked about this one already, right? So this one reported earnings. It acted as a negative catalyst. One of the things that I want to share with you, Fiverr is one that I'm personally paying attention to, but as of right now, as it's pulling on back, testing support level, does it really make sense to buy this stock right now? Definitely not, right? It's still not showing signs of an uptrend. It's not indicating signs of a reversal. And just like we saw last time, it's great when that opportunity does present itself and when we begin to make higher highs and higher lows, but that opportunity has not presented itself just yet. So let's not be afraid to stay patient and to truly allow that opportunity to present itself. When it comes down to current price points and where it's been trading at before, obviously the goal, if it were to make a full recovery, that's nearly 60%. But even if it just goes to the SMA line, that's nearly 30%. Let's make sure that we are aware of the potential that it has to offer and be encouraged to not force an entry, especially when there's so much margin to work with. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So Dakota with ticker symbol SPOT. I did see a couple of our Learn Plan Profit members talking about SPOT. It's been on a consistent descending pattern. When looking at the day chart, you could see that it has recently pulled on back. Spotify peaked during the pandemic, so make sure that you are aware of that. Because of its peak during the pandemic, it's been making lower highs and lower lows ever since. It makes sense on why it is that it peaked during pandemic conditions, and it's been seeing a consistent descending pattern since then. A lot of tech companies showed very similar patterns, that they just haven't been able to recover from that excessive demand, right? Are we oversold? Yeah, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, Spotify is oversold, but does oversold mean that it's the best buy right now? No, it can easily continue to sell off, right? So this is why I have my alerts set right here. I love the potential and the upside potential that Spotify offers based off of previous highs. You just have to understand that the last time, and the reason that it was trading up here, is it was experiencing more than anticipated demand. And when it comes down to current demand levels, we're just definitely not there. So to make a full recovery, I find to be pretty hopeful. But if it were to make a recovery to about 310, 330, I don't find that to be too far-fetched, right? Especially even with the SMA line acting as a resistance level. Even that potential itself is a little bit over 20%. So let's make sure that we are aware of that. As of right now, again, we are still trading below the EMA line, making lower lows, lower highs. I love the upside potential, but we just don't have confirmation just yet. Let's make sure that we're aware of that. Here we go. Ticker symbol V and ticker symbol MU. All right, so we got Visa. Overall, very consistent ascending uptrend pattern. I actually really like this one because on the day chart, it's super consistent. This pullback that we experienced was in the very beginning of the, it's the COVID pullback, you can call it, right? Peaked during January, February, and then pulling on back, hitting its bottom during March, and then recovering ever since then. It's been making higher highs, higher lows, consistent overall uptrend. Really nice pullback. Are you going to make an absolute killing off of buying Visa? Probably not, right? But it's consistent, it's bullish, and if you're someone that is maybe just getting started, maybe it's not the worst idea to try to trade stocks that are consistently bullish instead of going for very aggressive moving stocks, right? Do you guys get what I mean? So I love the setup. I like that you presented it in a way where it's oversold, but it was previously bullish and super consistent. So I'm going to set an alert for the break above EMA, but as well as an alert for the break below the SMA line. Just because it was bullish before doesn't mean that it has to continue with that pattern, as patterns tend to repeat themselves, but they don't always have to. I got to say the first four stocks that we've broken down are pretty solid. Let's go ahead and move on to MU, which is Micron Technologies. We experienced the peak during early 2021. It makes sense, right? Lower highs and lower lows ever since then. So again, a really nice healthy pullback. RSI, MACD, everything is kind of indicating that MU or Micron Tech is a little bit more on the oversold side. But what is different from where we're at right now than last month or the month before that or the month before that, right? Direction has not changed. Nothing has changed as of right now. There's an overall very consistent descending pattern, so we cannot be surprised if this thing continues to sell off. It's making lower highs and as well as lower lows. So by taking that into consideration, it is in our best interest to not try to predict the bottom, but maybe just set effective alerts. So if the direction does end up changing and the opportunity ends up presenting itself, then I would be more than happy to follow up with it. and trade the reversal. If you're someone that really likes the current price point of MU, then again, just take your position size into consideration, right? So don't buy in so aggressive that if it continues to sell off, you become an emotional mess and you can't tolerate that. At the end of the day, just do what's best for your future self and take every scenario into consideration. So you guys have a lot of good stocks today. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we already broke down Fiverr, Mo, just letting you know. All right, so we got PayPal, TTCF. So let's break those two down. We're going through these pretty quick. I like that. So PayPal, very consistent bullish pattern. I'm sure a lot of you guys find that attractive. Let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame. Really nice pullback. Looks like it's still trading below the overall EMA line as of right now. It is trading above it, but it's traded above it multiple times before, and then it still gets rejected. So we don't have true confirmation trading above it, so let's make sure that we're aware of that. On the 1 day or the day time frame, we're able to see it a little bit more clear. I love pullbacks. At the end of the day, one of the things that I love sharing with you guys is the only people that don't enjoy pullbacks are those that have no more money to buy the dip, right? If you're someone like you and I that are not invested in PayPal or are not invested in other stocks, and the stock pulls on back after a consistent ascending uptrend pattern, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. We're getting a very bullish stock that's very consistent over a long period of time, and we're getting it for a decent price based off of previous highs. So if you do it effectively, you can make a decent return, because a lot of when it comes down to trading and swing trading, it doesn't have to do so much with, putting the most money behind something, but making sure that you time it correctly, right? Making sure that the opportunity actually does end up presenting itself. So the SMA line has acted as a previous support level, but again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. So let's set an alert for the downside just in case it ends up happening. As you guys can see, I have all my alerts set up here when it comes down to PayPal's potential reversal. So I'm very excited to follow up with that. Let's keep a close eye. TTCF, we're going through these so quick. I have broken this one down before. One of the first things that I will say about this is that I'm not here to rub anyone the wrong way, right? This is just my opinion, and you guys can share or say what it is that you guys would want from it. TTCF is very volatile. I don't just like to talk about the upside potential and the reward. I like to be realistic. And if you are someone that's just getting started, if you're someone that's not the best at managing risk or managing your position size, this is probably not a stock that you want to trade and hope you get lucky on, right? From its peak of just a week ago to where it's at now, it's down 21%. So just, again, think about it. Worst case scenario. Think about your account size, your balance, and then losing 21% of that in just 1 week. Is that something that you would feel discouraged about? If so, either be really good at risk management or don't trade a stock that moves this aggressive. Not every stock moves like this. So put yourself in a position to succeed. With that being said, great opportunity comes with great responsibility, and a high risk, high reward type of stock can be very rewarding. But it's definitely not for everyone, right? So I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. I see why you're paying attention to it. There's a recent pullback, a lot of consolidation at this potential support level, and great recovery potential. But we are not seeing higher highs and higher lows. And if you're part of the Learn Plan Profit Group, you guys know that from the very beginning, our main focus is confirmation and allowing that direction to be in your favor. And we just don't have that yet. So I'm going to keep it simple. And let's set that alert for the break above that $17.45 price point. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. That's great. Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of people that want to stand behind TTCF, right? It was the earnings call that dropped it. All I'm saying is that it's been very volatile, and I've noticed that from the very beginning. So I don't want to just talk about how much someone can make off of a stock if we're not going to talk about the risk. That's all I was saying about TTCF. At the end of the day, I'm never here to encourage you or to discourage you about where you should put your money. I just want to encourage you to put yourself in a position in which you can tolerate so there's no surprises, right? If you trade a risky stock, that you understand that there's a lot of risk in place. It's that simple. And surprisingly, even sometimes you guys would think that that's common sense, but that's not when someone's just getting started and there's so much to learn about the stock market, right? So just make sure you take that into consideration. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and break down Wish. So one way, C dot, I appreciate you tuning on in. So ticker symbol Wish is one that I've been paying attention to on the 4-hour time frame. Consistent descending pattern. This one also reported earnings, acted as a negative catalyst, is still selling off. One of the things that you should know about Wish is that it's been consistently selling off for some period of time, right? It has not been bullish. It's consistent with the way that it sells off. With that being said, of course, direction can change. There's great upside potential. But what makes it any different from buying now than there was before, right? Don't be hopeful. If you're someone that believes that Wish is going to begin to change its direction, set your alerts and wait for that confirmation. Keep it that simple. If you're so certain, then challenge yourself to wait for that confirmation. It's a simple challenge, right? Because you're so certain about it. And I just know that if you do hold back, one of two things, right? You'll save yourself from a very bad trade if Wish or any stock continues to sell off. And second of all, if you do get confirmation, then guess what? You can jump in at any time, right? There's so much upside potential. Why rush into it, right? You have nothing but time. You're just getting started. You have so much to learn. Understand that you have nothing but time. So I appreciate you asking me for me to break down that stock. SBUX and ticker symbol EXPI. Let me do EXPI first. Alrighty, so on the day chart, I like this one. It was very bullish, right? Peaked at $90, pulling on back. It looks like it had another peak at $55. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame just to see things a little bit more clear. Okay, so we can see that the SMA line, what used to act as a descending resistance, is now acting as an ascending support. It recently pulled on back. It's consolidating, 3 stages of reversal, rejection, consolidation, and then we wait for confirmation, right? If you're part of LPP, you should know this. Very simple. From where we're at right now to previous resistance levels, nearly 30%. So I definitely see why you're paying attention to it. Again, a lot of volatility, a lot of quick movement. If you're not the best at risk management, if you're just getting started, probably not something that you should touch. But if you're good at managing risk, if you're good at position size, and you're good at locking in profits, then if you see value in this, add it to your watch list and follow up with it when it makes sense. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. It was SBUX. I almost forgot about you. SBUX overall 4-hour time frame looks like a really nice pullback from highs of 128 on the month chart. If I'm not mistaken, Starbucks reported earnings. It had a really good earnings report, acted as a positive catalyst. It peaked and it sold off over time. I'm going to share this with you guys because I know a lot of you guys maybe don't tune on into all of my videos. I had this conversation with our Learn Plan Profit group, and the idea of earning reports, right? Earning reports, I love trading during earnings season when companies report earnings, and I like buying the dips on the companies that sell off. But when companies shoot up because of positive earnings and shoot up very quickly within a very short period of time, they tend to see corrections, and Starbucks is a perfect example. Again, earnings should not be a reason on why you really decide to hold a company or buy a stock, because that volatility, regardless if it drops or regardless if it pushes, it normally tends to recover, or it normally tends to pull back if it peaks within a short period of time, right? So it peaked to highs of 128, right? It went from 118, 120 to highs of 128. It traded up there for about 3-4 days, and then it pulled right on back in about 4 or 5 days, right? So for a long-term investor, that's not really of value to you, right? Because if anything, now we're trading at a lower price point. Now, if your intention is to trade, now for people like you and I, right, that look for some margin or for some potential, maybe it's not the worst idea, right? Maybe there is some potential or opportunity there. So let's look at this on the day chart. We can see that Starbucks has been killing it, right? It's been consistent. It's been bullish, and it's oversold now, right? I love the setup that Starbucks has to offer. Oversold, look at the MACD, look at the RSI. It's super bullish, super consistent, take into consideration that patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to, right? There's risk to every trade and every investment, but that's about 11% upside for a company that is worth $135 billion, right? They sell espressos. Just kidding. I'm sure, I know that they do much more than that. But this is why it's super important for you to understand how earnings reports work and why it's important to pay attention to them if you're a trader, and maybe why you shouldn't care so much if you're an investor when it comes down to the volatility that follows earnings. At the end of the day, if you're in it for the big picture, then don't look at the day to day, right? It shouldn't be of value to you as much as the overall grand picture. When it comes down to trading, this is why we pay attention to buy the dips, right? We buy the dips to sell the highs, and then we choose to lock in profit. So I actually really like this one. I'm going to add it to my watch list, my active watch list. I would love to take an investment position in Starbucks and make that 10%, right? It's consistent, it's a good quality company, and it's cheap right now based off previous patterns. So this isn't like a cheap stock, right? It's not a poor quality company. This is where I can put a larger dollar amount behind the trade and wait for that recovery. 10% with a good quality company is decent margins. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm going to do, how many have we done so far? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've done 10. I think that we can get through 5 more in the next 5 minutes. What do you guys think? You guys think that we can? Again, if you guys like these stocks, it really helps out the channel. I hope it's not too much of an inconvenience for me to ask. I would really appreciate if you guys can drop a thumbs up. BIDU. So let's go to move on to the next one. BIDU. Here we go. BIDU on the 4-hour time frame, very consistent descending pattern. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Okay, so it was very bullish. It looks like it peaked during the midst of the pandemic, right? And it's been consistently selling off ever since. Direction has not changed. So if direction has not changed, why would I want to trade this? To buy the dip and hope that it recovers, or wait for proper indication? So until then, I've already set alerts up here. Nothing has changed from there, so I don't really care for it, right? Until something changes, there has to be an intent, a reason behind, a reason why, right? So if you can explain to me, I'm going to buy the dip because of this, then great, so be it. But there is nothing. There, at least on the technical aspect, it's not indicating signs of reversal. It's not showing signs of a support and that it's going to make a recovery. It's just oversold. RSI, MACD, yes, but it's been oversold for quite some time, so nothing has changed. So let's go to move on to the next one. Here we go. So I knew you were going to ask about this one. I'm actually really happy that you did. So that question, I read it pretty quickly. So if you guys didn't see that in the live chat, like, Ricky, you love cheap stocks and you love oversold stocks. What do I think about Alibaba? This one's great. And if you look at it on the big picture, so on the day chart, you guys can see that Alibaba has been in my radar for quite some time. From the very beginning, from when China was restricting and pretty much muting the previous CEO and the original founder of Alibaba. And ever since then, it's been under a lot of scrutiny. Consistent descending pattern, making lower lows, lower highs. Alibaba's not looking too good right now, right? Consistent descending pattern, and cheap does not always mean a good buy, because it was a cheap stock a couple months ago. It was a cheap stock in January, but it's even cheaper now. This is a perfect example of cheap does not mean it's a good buy. It just means that based off of previous patterns, yes, there is upside recovery, upside potential, but there's no indication of that reversal just yet. We're making lower lows, lower highs, and yes, it did recover to some degree. So if you want to take the high risk of buying the dip and selling the highs back at the EMA line, that's a trade potentially worth trading for those that see value in it and that can manage and mitigate risk. But it's not a trade for conservative people or for people that are just getting started. So make sure that you understand your position. I love the setup on Alibaba. I love the upside potential big picture. It's just, it's going through so much negative news right now. It's going to be hard for it to recover. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. I just want there to be an indication of a recovery. But I really do appreciate you asking me about it. Let's go ahead and break down 3 more. Let's run through these pretty quickly. My goodness. I feel like I'm talking too quick. You guys can let me know if I am. All right. So this is Chewy, CHWY. Chewy sounds like my uncle's name. I'm Hispanic, if you guys didn't know. Very consistent overall ascending uptrend pattern, hit highs of 120, recent pullback, and it's been making higher highs and higher lows ever since. Really nice recent pullback, pulling back to the EMA line. I can see why you're paying attention to it. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So really nice pullback to the SMA line, testing potential support level, and from where we're at, if it were to continue this overall ascending uptrend pattern, 13%. I like it. So we'll see if it finds a support, set those effective alerts. I think you're doing a great job identifying a bullish and cheap stock, and based off of overall highs, right, from where we were earlier this year, 36%. So it's a win-win in that if we do get confirmation of a reversal. Urban, so URBN. So this is a store my girlfriend loves to shop at. I can see why their stock price is very bullish because it's super expensive. But for all my Urban Outfitter people, if you guys have discounts, just let me know. I would appreciate it. Urban, ticker symbol URBN, very consistent horizontal pattern. I don't know if there's any stock that I've seen that's like this, that trades like this. It does have pretty low volume. I can just look at it by the overall candles and how it looks already, that it has pretty low volume. Make sure that you take that into consideration. But on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that again, overall support level right around $35, overall resistance level right around $40. Consistent support, consistent resistance. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. If you want to buy the dip to sell the highs, you can calculate the perfect trade of what it would be. It's about 13%. There's no such thing as a perfect trade. There's one time that it's going to either break a support or break a resistance level, and it'll move on from there. Just make sure that you are aware of that you're prepared for that. Yeah, I don't see it to be anything too attractive as of right now. But yeah, it's already halfway to the overall resistance level. It's approaching SMA line, and we've gotten rejected there before. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this stock right now at the current price point. Looking at the day chart, yeah, a lot of consolidation, and it's approaching previous highs at 420, 42.10. My apologies. Let's break down one more, and then we can call it a live stream, and I'll leave you guys to enjoy your Sunday. So Nikola and Roku. All right, I'll do a couple more. All right, Nikola. So okay, I have to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Nikola from the very beginning. I haven't been the biggest fan of Nikola. I said it from I used to make videos almost every single day about Nikola ever since its peak at $90 when it supposedly surpassed Ford Motors market cap at $30 billion, and then quickly from $90 it shot right back down to $30. People thought that it was the next Tesla. I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree, I hate when companies subjugate other competitors that are leaders in that marketplace and yet have proved nothing, right? It's like you have so much to prove, but it's a great way to get a lot of attention from people that want to see, right? I think competition instills creativity, and that would be great to see something be a direct competitor for Tesla. But as of right now, Tesla, when it comes down to EV vehicles, and again, just being like a innovator in their current marketplace, there's not one like them. I don't see Nikola to be a stock worth holding. Yes, it does push and rally from time to time. You are correct. It's more of a trade than I would view it as an investment. I can ask you a very simple question based off of the past year, right? Is this a stock that you want to hold over a long period of time? Based off of its overall direction, definitely not, right? It has not indicated signs of a change of direction. It has not indicated any signs of a reversal. So because of that, I would just have to say that I'm out. And Roku. Let's go ahead and do that one. So I really like Roku. Roku peaked during the pandemic. It makes sense if you understand the company, right? Especially when it came down to everyone being at home during the pandemic, not being able to leave your house. Peak, right? So early 2021, peak. Pulling on back, it peaked recently at 490. Pulling on back, it is oversold a little bit more on the cheaper side. So based off of current price points and previous highs, 37%, I 100% see why it is that you're paying attention to it. I love these. I love when you guys bring these to my attention, because this is the whole point of these Sunday Stock Talks, for me to share ideas and for you to share ideas. And this now just allows me to add more stocks to my watch list that I potentially want to swing trade. And it's the reason that we do this, right? To continue to share ideas, to grow our watch list. And we don't have to agree with every stock. That's never the point. That's impossible, right? We all see values in different ways. But out of, if you select 1, 2, 2 or 3 of these stocks out of the 10 to 15 that we break down, that's great. That's golden, right? 34%. I like it. So I'm going to add this one to my watch list as well. So waiting for indication of reversal. It's making lower highs, lower lows as of right now. And the more it sells off, the better price I can get it for, right? So let's stay patient. Let's allow the opportunity to present itself. But once it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, I'd love to get a small piece, right? I'm never here to pretend that I'm going to buy at the best price point and sell at the best price point. If anything, if you guys have watched my live trading sessions, I tend to sell a little bit too early. But I would rather be someone that sells early consistently than that's someone that sells late and goes from green to red, right? And we all know that we've been in those shoes before. So I'm going to end it as a live stream here. If you guys have any messages or stocks that you guys would like me to break down, please do not message me on Instagram. Just message me on Discord. So you guys can refresh your screen, and the first link in the description will send you to our free Facebook group, and then that will give you access to our Discord group. As well as if you guys want to join my live trading session tomorrow at Market Open, I just pinned something in the live chat. It's going to be the link for you to be able to join us. It is a $50 off coupon. You don't have to join the Learn Plan Profit group. The Learn Plan Profit group is the only group that I work with on a closer basis. I don't offer anything else, nothing else, right? So if you like the way that I break things down, if you've watched any of my previous live trading videos and you would like to join our team, you can use that link for the first 15 people, $50 off. And I'll see you tomorrow at Market Open. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to message me via Discord and we'll go from there. So I hope that I earned your thumbs up. If you guys learned something new, please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.